Hey everybody, Alex here with Momentum Charting. Welcome to the video. Today we are going to be doing a wrap-up video on SPRT support.com, and if you have not yet done so, guys, jump down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification. Doing both of those things will ensure you do not miss any potential follow-up videos on SPRT, plus all your other favorite stocks in the markets, broad markets, everything in between. Thank you so much for joining me here today on Momentum Charting. And guys, I thought that today looked like a pretty good day to sort of wrap up this short-term series on SPRT, because all of the sort of worst-case scenario things that I outlined in our last video ended up coming true. And as a matter of fact, go back and watch the last video I did, which was over the weekend. It was on 8/28. And I said that the one thing I was hoping that didn't happen, happened, right? First thing Monday, we had this huge gap up on Monday, and this is kind of what I drew out in the video. I said, guys, I do not want this to happen. I don't want us to gap up on Monday and then just start bleeding out over the next few days and then break this important medium-term trend line right here. Right here, I will increase the pixel size even a little bit more so you can see it a little bit more easily. This trend line here, right? And not only did that happen, guys, but on Monday I started seeing this thing bleeding off, so I set this trend line here. We never broke above that. I could just see this thing was really not working well. We were never able to break above this opening gap area on Monday at around 42.50, and exactly like I drew out on that Saturday video, I said, do not, please, of all things, we do not want to happen, this thing just to gap up and then get sold off and then bleed off for the next couple days. And not only did that happen, but then today we end up breaking this crucial, important medium-term trend line to the downside and even sold off again, I think a little bit after hours. But this is just an absolutely horrible pattern. So there was, again, no trade in place, no re-entry, and this was kind of the stuff that I was warning about a little bit in the past two videos of this series. It's like, you know, from time to time you get these special moments in the market and in these stocks where it just, you know, peak euphoria in these stocks, and it allows them to increase hundreds and hundreds of percentage points over a very small period. Remember, we were talking about this thing on Friday where people were FOMOing into the stock up in these areas at around 56, end of day Friday, hoping this would do a gamma squeeze or whatever, whatever people were talking about potentially happening with this stock. Guys, it just never materialized. On the 10-minute trend, we ended up having a brutal breakdown out of this short-term trend line here at around 11:20, you know, in the afternoon on Friday, and then just sold off the entire day. Got this big gap up on Monday, and then the stock was basically cooked from then. And then to make matters worse, yeah, I pointed this potential pattern out to you guys on the Saturday update of this stock. I said I don't want this to happen, but I was watching some other key things too, right? I showed the 2-minute. I showed this velocity chart. I mentioned that I wanted to see, you know, the velocity come back up here and start breaking back above these levels. That never happened. It just was a slow bleed off and has been the last couple days. So this thing has not been able to get off the mat as far as return to this euphoria back from last week so far. Okay, and then another thing I was watching here was this DRSI. I pointed this out on the 8/28 video and said that I did not want to break these levels at around 65, and what I wanted to have happen was for us to turn up at these levels and start putting in another peak, and that would have been something to give us a catalyst to push SPRT to much higher prices. But the worst of the worst came true. Not only were we not able to break back up in DRSI, but this big gap up here first thing Monday morning at 6:30. I mean, you guys look at this DRSI. I mean, it didn't even push it up even slightly, right? Right here, this area here, we weren't even able to start pushing up and then do a fake out. It just didn't even show anything on that. What was it? 25-30% gap up first thing Monday morning. I mean, I was watching this thing live and I could just see this was just a bad situation, and that DRSI not able to get off the mat, and also so that this started just bleeding off. So this was really bad here, the setup in the DRSI. Even on that big 40% gap up on Monday, didn't change anything, did not break back up from these levels. And then this was the other chart that I was showing you guys here on the 828 video over the weekend. I said that I wanted to have this, the 1 hour momentum start to break back above these levels, and that again was what was going to allow SPRT prices to start breaking back to the upside in a realistic fashion, most likely breaking back above 60, and it certainly would have if we were able to get momentum to break back above these areas. But guys, I mean, it was just bad, right? This whole thing was just terrible. The action on let's see here. Yeah, when was this? Okay, 27. So that's the 30th there. So that would have been this. This was the thing that happened at 6:30 here, guys. So not only were we never able to break back above these levels here, this thing just started peeling down and breaking back below this lower bounds of this channel at around 8:30 on August 31st, and from there it just kept selling off. So yeah, it's just a trade that just didn't work out, guys. It's as simple as that. I mean, if you're looking for a re-entry, for anybody that was in early, it was anybody that was in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of last week, this worked out very well, as long as you were able to get out of the trade at reasonable levels. But as far as a re-entry and looking for this thing to break back above these highs around $60, that never happened. Another thing we did here, I set this trend line here on a 1 hour time period, just breaking down, had like a triangle here, broke out, broke down. It just, nothing in this trade materialized as far as what I was looking for a re-entry in this stock and to move back up to much higher levels in the short term. It just did not happen, guys. So is this trade finished? Well, I think for now, most likely yes. This was kind of my line and my final line in the sand, as I outlined to you guys in the last video. This important trend line here on a 10-minute time frame, we broke out of that, broke back down today. So gonna kind of watch to see where this thing settles out. Is this thing going to start, because the setup here on this 10-minute dynamic trend is still in a positive fashion here. You guys can see that here. It's still positive, so there's a chance, guys, this thing could start just consolidating in this area. So I am going to be watching this. I'm going to be watching this trade carefully. I just think that for now, the most important part where we were just blasting off in this trade, we're going to have to be very, very patient to see if this thing allows for another trade setup in the maybe not too distant future. I'm going to show you that on the 4-hour momentum here in a second. But chances are, to me, we start coming down here and maybe either hit this long-term trend line here around 15, or just start consolidating somewhere in this area, between 17 and $30, something like that. Just start consolidating in this area. We need to be patient on this setup, guys, to see if we get one more setup where we can potentially push this thing up again. And what I'm going to be looking for here, let's go to the 4-hour momentum. What I'm going to be looking for here is something like happen in this time period here, okay? Between August 2nd, 2021 and let's see, August 19th, 2021. So it was a period of maybe 2 weeks in here, right? I think around 2 weeks. So I'm going to be looking for potentially something like that exactly to develop on a 4-hour time frame. This thing just to kind of work back and forth here, right? For maybe 2 weeks. And what I'm going to do here, and I'll just do that right now. So we have that line set where we know where our momentum is breaking back to the upside. I'm going to set that on the 4-hour chart right there. If we can get, guys, momentum on a 4-hour time period to consolidate here and in a couple weeks break back above these levels on a 4-hour time frame, I am going to come back out. I'm going to reopen this series. I'm going to let everybody know that now is the time potentially where we are setting up for another trade to the upside on SPRT. So for now, guys, closing this series out. No trade, no short-term momentum in our favor. I'm going to be waiting, going to be watching this chart carefully. Again, I will definitely reopen this series if in the next, who knows, week, 2 weeks, whatever it is, maybe even a couple days. Who knows for sure if that could happen. I don't think so, but it's possible. But if and when we are able to get this 4-hour momentum to break back above these levels right here at around 21.10, I'm going to reopen this series and notify everyone the trade is back on. I'm going to start looking for our DRSI setup again. Going to be start setting trend lines, everything like that. Looking for volume coming into the chart, looking at our velocity, looking at our momentum, looking for all the setups we look at a short-term time frame to try to get powerful moves to the upside on stocks. That is why you are going to want to make sure to go down below, subscribe to the channel, so if I do indeed open this series back up on SPRT, you're not going to miss the trade. Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this video. Really hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you enjoyed this short-term momentum trading series. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for joining me on this video. Everyone have yourself a great evening. I will see everybody again very shortly, most likely on the next broad market update. Thanks. Bye for now.